So we're here at another rent house that we had. So kind of a backstory. So you understand why we have all these random rent houses popping up is we tend to buy houses by the package. So we bought a package, I think 37, 40 houses a couple of years ago. And we have been slowly but surely going through and remodeling, probably a dozen or so a year. So we're getting down to the last leg of the package of houses that we bought, and of course these are the worst ones that were have been empty for new God knows how long. I mean, a long time before that we got them. So these are in such poor condition that we're having to do full gut remodels on these things, and we're spending a lot of money. Now, some of the money that we're spending, we're not completely convinced is justified in remodel, and maybe better spent in tearing down and rebuilding. So we're here to determine what our course of action is and how we're going to proceed with bringing this house back to life. This is an old house and an old area. We're about Pine and Peoria, so we're just north of downtown. But this is also an area that has been undergoing a lot of revitalization, and there's a lot of new construction. There's a lot of building and a lot of new stuff going on around here, and this has become a very popular area. So, we need to take a real close look at what we have and what we can do with it to make a determination on how we want to go forward. So let's check it out.
And what I can tell you is that I forgot that this front door was like this. There's no door on that. It's just all screwed up there. But right through here, Mark?
I remember vaguely going in here.
Yes. Right through here, it's a solid concrete wall. You have a screw gun?
I think I put it back in my truck. My desk.
Okay. The entire floor in here is caved in and is rotten. There's nothing in there. You walk in there, you got to be careful, you'll break your ankle. There's nothing in there. I mean, nothing. Right through here, going back that way, is a solid concrete wall.
I mean, that's efficient. Now,
Now it's efficient from a standpoint of, it's there, but you can't do any electrical work. So, I mean,
over.
And then how are you going to get it in the wall? I mean, how are we going to pass inspections on that with that like that? I mean, we can come back over here once because I can get doors put on this thing, but here.
I just need to bring a screw gun.
Yeah, but
Hear me.
here's another issue is that it's going to be a house where we put up fencing, because once we start on this, they'll be all over it. I mean, your call. Aaron's call, I guess. It's his house.
No, he's approved the fencing.
Okay, so then what I want to do, but if we're going to get started on this one and we're going to do something, do we need to make a plan?
Well, if we're changing anything on the back, we're going to have to go through permitting.
Well, I want to change. I want to take this off of here, and I want to square this off and put that in there, because you have a bedroom in the front, you have a bedroom back here, and in the middle you have a room that would not be big enough to be
Would it, because of the condition of the house, the rock, and the challenges that it has, would it behoove us to knock the damn thing down and start over? I mean, it's not going to be a cheap demo of all that rock, but
it's not going to be a cheap demo inside either because of the concrete wall. I'm just telling you that concrete wall runs all the way down the center of the house, and how you're going to get, I mean, yes, you can go over the roof line with electrical, but then you're going to have conduit and everything on the walls.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's old, big boy. I mean, to knock it down and get it hauled off, it's going to be what, 10 grand?
Probably.
It'll cost us 10 grand to even begin to get it to where we can start working on it. I mean, that's I guess a question that you have to have with him.
Yeah, I gotta look at numbers. Because I think we had our...
Because if you could make this, if you could come back in here, Mark, and make this a 4.2, and then what would it rent for? That's a 4.2. I mean, you have parking back here. You have all this room back here that we could have parking, and you could have the house go this way. I mean, you could put Atlanta here. Now, my question is, would we take it down? Would we take the footing out, or would we try to keep the footing?
Keep the footing unless we're matching the plan.
Well, that's true.
And then also...
plus the footing is that, never mind, that was stupid on my part.
I was like, and the footing is 100 years old or however old, 80 years old, not young. So I don't think it's going to be built to today's standards. And the city, if we're gonna have to permit no matter what we do, and they're going to be, you know how they are. So they're going to be very detail oriented on everything that we do.
We already have a set of plans, so we don't have to pay for a set of plans. We could just change the address.
But it's cheaper than doing architectural plans. We just changed, but it has to match.
That's all the financial masterminds area. I just build it, so I just do what I'm told.
So if we put it back, if we rebuild it, it's going to be, if we able to tear off the back and do the thing 3.2.
Yes.
We had a $75,000 remodel budget that we turned into the bank based off the last time that we were here.
What did we think it was going to cost to build Atlanta?
Well, we're running about 100 a square foot, and it's 1,400 square feet, so 140.
A little bit over the budget there, big boy.
I don't think we're going to actually do this for 75. Just based on what the information you just gave me.
The inside of it is a disaster. I mean, there's very little on the inside that could be saved. On the walls, anything. The electrical is old. You see the knob and tube up there. It's all going to have to be redone. Every bit of plumbing is going to have to be redone. A lot of the walls have got to be redone. The entire floor has got to be redone from a crawl space. I mean, it's all rotted in there. The holes in the roof have just rotted it out. I mean, I think that if we get a screw gun and come back over here where I can get you inside and you can see what's going on, you understand what I'm saying. But the inside of the house is rotten.
I vaguely remember. I mean, I remember hopscotching on the floor joist.
Yeah. And even those are like, so.
Well, let me look at
Okay.
numbers and talk to the powers that be before we come back. Because I am heavily leaning towards turning it down.
Well, I just wanted you to, while we were close by, to get your mind back on it, because see all this rotten stuff. I mean, it's all going to have to be torn off, and then you start looking at the roof, and the roof's got a lot of dips and valleys in it, which means that all the plywood is rotten. So it's not going to be just as simple as putting a roof on. You're going to have to replace a lot of plywood up there, and possibly even joists.
I dare to say that we'd have to reframe a good portion of that, because even
I see the big hole right up in there.
I see the big hole. But even that besides, I mean, it's a funky roof line. It's not.
Yeah, I'm just pointing things out so that when you have your discussion or whatever, you have info. But I think this would be, I mean, for what it's worth, if we tore it down real quick, I think this would be perfect Atlanta.
Yeah, so I think it is in our interest to tear it down and rebuild it, and we get better values. I think we spend the extra money, we get it back. And then also we have a new product that we don't have to worry about for years.
Like I say, I'd find out who has that one.
Yeah, but by the time we will look into it. But. Okay, weren't able to get in because for security measures, we keep everything boarded up. We use the star bits and whatnot. And my tool bag is at the office. His tool bag's at the house, so we weren't able to get in. But just based on the knowledge of we have been in there before and facing with the obstacles of the stone and the concrete and the age of the property and the restrictions that we would have in the remodel and the cost of the remodel because of the condition of the structure, realistically we think it's going to be better to go ahead and just tear it down and build a new one than it would be to try to salvage this one. Now we're going to go back and we're going to look at it on paper and do a full analysis of the numbers, but just from just walking around it and understanding what we're working with and the foundation that we're trying to build upon, it makes more sense to start over than it does to try to revive.